Today I want to talk to you about how to validate your idea through user research. So oftentimes teams end up having an idea and then just starting to build it. They start making wireframes or designing or coding, and then they launch and no one shows up. We do not want that to happen to us, so that's why we need to validate our ideas with research. And I'm going to give you a real-life example of how I just did this in the past 2 weeks. But before I get into that, I just want to introduce myself in case we've not met yet. I'm Sarah Doody, a user experience designer and entrepreneur. I'm in New York City right now. And these episodes are filled with honest answers and insights to your questions about user experience, technology, and business. So, like I said, I want to talk about how we use user research to validate our either new product ideas or features for our existing products. So I already told you why we need to do this, because what we don't want to happen is launch and then have no one show up. So we want to know there is demand before we start to build. So how do we do that? I want to tell you a little story of how I just did this really easily. So I'm a user experience designer, and I have a pretty big audience on Twitter and with a daily or weekly newsletter I do. And one of the questions I get asked all the time is, how do I make a user experience portfolio? What should go in my portfolio? And I thought to myself, a lot of people are asking me about this. Maybe there's something here. So I decided, okay, I need to validate the demand. I need to validate that people are truly interested in this. So here's what I did. I did some research, and the way I did that research was really simple. I created a little email that I sent to my mailing list, which is about 9,500 people, and I just said something like this. Hey guys, I've noticed a lot of you are asking me about UX portfolios. I'm thinking about putting together a beta program to help you guys make your UX portfolios. If you're interested, go fill out this Google form. So I sent that email off, and I actually forgot about it. And then a few days later, I checked the form results, and 400 people had filled out my Google form. So 400 out of 9,500 is a really great conversion rate. I didn't do the math, but it's good. So in the Google form, I also had a field that said something like, is there anything else you'd like to add or tell me? And it was just a text field. People could write anything. And people were literally begging me to choose them to be a part of my little beta group. So I thought to myself, okay, this is a sign, this is evidence that people want this, that there is a need for this. So in just sending one email to a bucket of people and having them fill out a Google form, I was able to clearly validate my idea. And now I have these 400 people who filled out the Google form who are excited about this thing I'm creating. So when it is ready, I can then send them an email and say, hey, this thing, it's ready. Do you want it? So I've automatically eliminated a ton of risk here because I have an audience that I know wants something who are begging me to make it. So chances are when it's ready, they'll want to buy it, which is awesome. And I've not gone ahead and built something yet because I didn't have that validation. But now that I have the validation, I'm in the middle of making it. So now I can be more confident that when I launch, I can know there's audience there. So just to let you in on a little secret, I actually did launch this thing, and I decided, okay, I'm going to keep it lean, and we're going to start with a 90-minute workshop about user research or user experience portfolios, So I went back to these 400 people and I said, hey guys, here's what I'm going to do. Clearly you're all very interested in UX portfolios. So I'm going to do a 90-minute workshop. It's going to be on this date, this time. Go here to sign up. Now, I made people pay for it because I'm going to put a lot of time into making this, but also I want people to show up. And I know from past experience that when you do something for free, people just don't value it as much. So I did a bunch of research and set the price for this 90-minute workshop. And then I emailed everyone, those 400 people. Now, I did this on a long weekend, the day after a long weekend in the United States. So I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. But I launched this on a Thursday. And then by Monday morning, I had 85 people who had paid me to come to this 90-minute workshop. So I had to shut it down because 85 people, I had never thought 85 people would buy this. So I closed the registration because I wanted to keep the group small. And now I'm creating a waiting list for the next workshop. So it's such a great example. And yes, this, you could say, oh, that's just a little workshop, but this works for anything. It's just a matter of validating your idea, asking the right people, getting them excited, seeing if they'll pay for something, and then at each one of those little steps, using it as confirmation that you should keep going. So what does the future look like for me and this idea around UX portfolios? Well, assuming that the 90-minute workshop goes well and I get really good feedback, that will be another green light for me to then probably develop this curriculum further into a little bit more robust of a program. But I'm not going to go ahead and start brainstorming that until after I do this initial 90-minute session and see what all the 85 people who registered have to say. So I did not used to be like this. I used to like to build out the entire mega UX portfolio program, but I've learned my lesson, and now I work in these small little steps, and I only continue on to the next if the current step passes, whatever passing means. So that's one example of how you can validate your ideas through user research in a really simple, practical way. So think about what you're working on. Can you ask people to go fill out a Google form about whatever your topic is or the feature is? See what they say, and then use that as confirmation to either keep going or go back to the drawing board and do some deeper research to figure out what problems you really should be solving. So I hope that's helpful for you or inspiring if you think that this validation needs to be really time-consuming and really expensive. It took me, 1 hour to make the Google form and send the emails, and then let's say 3 days to wait for the results to come in. And then I launched the landing page for the workshop, and I had to shut the doors all within 2 weeks of initially sending out that Google form. So hopefully you learned something, and I will talk to you soon. And if you want to learn more about user experience, sign up for my free weekly user experience newsletter called theuxnotebook.com. Thanks, guys. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.